So similarly with your purple shades also. So when you need to get purple, you will mix red and blue. So now this tertiary color is when you add one more of one primary color. So for example, if you add more of blue, so it will be this purplish. It won't be a light purple. But when you add more of red, it will give you this tone. So these are tertiary colors. Similarly with orange, when you add more of yellow, this will give you tertiary color. This range. So this is like yellowish orange. But when you add more of red, this is like pale reddish. So the same thing applies to green as well. So this is your color wheel. Yeah, this is a palette. The wooden palette is preferred when you paint with oil paints because your paint will not dry very sooner compared to when you're using it on a plastic palette. And if you and then later you will have to like scrap your paint off once you've done painting, or you can apply a plastic wrap on top of it. You can paint. So as in when you're done with it, you can just peel off the plastic wrap. So this is about the wooden board. With watercolors, we use water as the. So for oil painting, what do we use? So we use one solvent, that is turpentine. So this is turpentine. This is the solvent. This will reduce the viscosity of the paint because oil paints are generally very thick. So they're not thin compared to water and acrylic. So we use this if you want a thinner painting, and then you will use less of this if you want the paint to be thick. And then we use linseed also because linseed oil. So because we don't want the paints to crack. So to give it that shine, that smoothness, we use linseed. So generally it can be used in the ratio of 1:1. When you're painting, you can dip your brush once in linseed and once in turpentine and mix with the paint and then apply it to the board. Painting is the easiest to start with because watercolor in the painting industry, watercolor is the most difficult to paint. So because I'll tell you why. Because with oil painting, you can erase your mistake. You can redo your mistake any point of time of the painting. So even when your painting is completely dry, you can redo the entire thing, and there will be no whatever, there'll be nothing left. There'll be no clues or something that is left to say that you've done a mistake. So it can be corrected at any point of time. And also it is very easy to paint is because it takes a lot of time to dry. So you get time to correct your mistakes, you get time to make changes, because once we paint something, let's say we paint a tree and we want to change the shape of leaves or the color of leaves, we can do it at any point of time. So that is why this is the best for beginners, because with watercolors, once it is dried, it should be dried. And then if something goes wrong with the painting, you have to do it from the scratch on a new sheet of paper.
Right.
But with acrylics also is the same thing. But with oil paint, this is the best advantage. Try Camel's artistic range oil colors, because these are very good. These pigments and the quality of this is very good, and it's very affordable. So this is the bigger tube. This is 20 ml tube. You also get a 9 ml tube. So you can get one set once, and then after your painting, whichever color runs out, you can just replace that color. So this is Camel's artistic range, and this is so these are like 3 sample pieces, but you can get them. There are also expensive paints like Winsors and all, but it is always better if you start with this. This is very good. So they're like, very affordable and very good, because your painting will consume a lot of paints. So you will have to replace a lot of tubes a lot of times. So for that frequency, keeping that in mind, the Camel's artistic range is very nice. Similarly, you can also go for Camel's or Camlin's artistic brushes, and also fine arts brushes. So canvas, you can go for fine arts canvas, or any decent stretched canvas will do. So not an issue. But paints, yeah, this is better. And then this is Camlin's linseed and turpentine. This is linseed and this is turpentine. You get them in smaller bottles as well, so whichever is convenient for you. This is also pretty decent. In your beginning, always you have to keep in mind is the blending. So always you blend the colors very, very well. So unless the colors are blended, the painting will not look good. So blending means you don't leave any fine lines. Like you don't color blue. Okay, for example, I can tell you. So you don't do this. Like, you don't leave orange here and you don't leave yellow here. You blend them completely unless they become a shade. They become like one color. So that transition, that gradient is there. So if that is there, your painting will look good. So make sure you focus on the blending techniques. How do you blend? So this is also covered in our app, so you can look into it. So you have like I told you, there's a demonstration on blending. So where, how you blend colors from lighter to darker and what happens when you blend colors from darker to lighter. So this is the most important, this is the foundation to oil painting. And other tricks would be to keep your brushes clean and to use which brush for what. And when you want some different effects, you will use a dry brush without paint, without any solvent or any linseed oil. So that will give you a very nice effect. And there is also something called as fan brush. So yeah, I have it here. So this is the fan brush. So this will also help in blending your paints very well. So these are also some of the tricks. But yeah, like Priyanka mentioned, this is a very basic Q&A question, and we will not be able to cover all the basic stuffs here. So for that, always the app would be the best possible choice, right? Landscape and portrait, they're all intermediate or advanced levels, so where you will have to learn the basics properly to work on landscape and portrait. So landscape, I can tell you one thing is, it comes on the layers. So when you watch a tree from a distance behind, so then you should know how dark or how light the tree should be for it to look that it is behind. And similarly, when you paint a mountain in front of the tree, to make it appear that way, you should know what comes lighter in front. So these comes in layers, and it is very important to know the gradient and to know the layers. And we have one very exclusive landscape also in the app, right? So we have one where we've covered these steps, in a very, very detailed format. There's a painting demonstration also on landscape, so where you can learn step by step from basics, from a plain canvas to a complete landscape painting. And similarly with portrait as well, there is one portrait lesson tutorial as well in the app. So that also goes like this, from drawing anatomy, and then from the basic canvas to your finished canvas, so the entire thing is covered. Okay, let's keep it very generally. So first we'll color block. If you're painting, let's say, one scenery, we'll color block the mountains brown. Like it can be dark, lighter shade, and then the sky will color block them blue, will color block the ocean blue. And then color blocking just means you're just painting that object with one apt color, so that has no shade or anything. So after this will take, let's say, if you air dry it, 1 day to 2 days to dry a little. It doesn't have to completely dry. So next you'll start your second coat. So that will be shading, giving it highlights, and then giving it that texture. So that will again take about 2 days. So working on one painting will take you some time, will take at least 1 week to finish and let it dry. Okay, so for example, I can show them the landscape that is here. So like I told you, this is the layers I was talking about. This is the layer that is in the back, and this is before that. So this is lighter, so it looks like it is in the back, and this is darker, so it looks like it is in the front. So these are the gradients that I was talking about. And this painting from scratch, this is also available in the app. So this is a finished painting. So that is why it is important to know your basics, so that you can work on your own landscapes and portraits. Once you're done with it, you get sprays. So you get sprays that are this varnish sprays. So after the painting is dried, you can just spray it on your entire painting and let it air dry for a day or two. So then your painting will not get spoiled forever. So you don't even have to frame it with glass and all. You can wipe it with a wet cloth or a dry cloth, to get rid of the dust. But once it is protected, then it will stay forever. So this is also something that you should know once you're done with your painting and you want to preserve your beautiful created masterpieces, right? So forever, for a very long time. So this is what you